We have with us an ex-BCCI media manager. He has been a part of the sports sector for over 20 years. He is also an author of 8 cricket books, including biographies of Mr. Sunil Gavaskar, Mr. Sachin Tendulkar, and Rahul Dravid. Hello, sir. Welcome to In Conversation with India Sports News. It's a pleasure having you here. I just
My
wanted to
pleasure.
I just wanted to ask you the first question. Your memories of the match of the first Border Gavaskar series that was played in 1996-1997.
Yeah, so the Border Gavaskar Trophy was instituted in 1996, and the first series it was not a series, but it was a one-off test played in Delhi, and there was a lot of curiosity. What I remember is that we were very curious because that was a phase when unfortunately India and Australia did not play each other pretty regularly. The last series between India and Australia had been played way back in 91, 92. We were very curious. I think most of the members of the Australian team that came to India in 1996, they had not even, with the exception of Steve Waugh, none of them had been to India before. They had been there for the World Cup in early 96, but that was just about it. We were a little upset that Shane Warne was missing from action. But we were delighted because India won that match. We won that game by 7 wickets. Nayan Mongia was the hero. He opened the batting. Those were the days when we were hunting for a good opening pair. So there were a lot of stopgap arrangements being being made. And Nayan Mongia, the wicketkeeper batsman, opened the batting, scored 152, batted for a long time. And I also remember Saurav Ganguly. It was his first home test match. He had scored centuries in his first 2 test matches in England. So there was a lot of curiosity whether he would emulate Mohammad Azharuddin and become the second Indian to score a century in each of his first 3 test matches. But unfortunately, that did not happen. I think he got out in the 60s, if memory serves me right. What I also remember is Anil Kumble taking 8 or 9 wickets in the game. The Australians had no answer to Anil's bag of tricks. But Steve Waugh played a great hand in the second innings, scored a great 50. An innings that Rahul Dravid recalled very fondly years later when he wrote the foreword to Steve Waugh's autobiography. And then, of course, we won that match very easily. It was followed by a tri-series, which again we won, a tri-series featuring India, Australia, and South Africa. But that one-off test for the Border Gavaskar Trophy was a memorable affair, as I said. Sachin Tendulkar was the captain of India. It was Sachin's first test as captain of India. So he got off to a winning start as captain of India. And what was significant was that the Border Gavaskar Trophy was presented to him by Border and Gavaskar themselves. Both Alan Border and Sunil Gavaskar were personally present. The trophy that time was another trophy, not the one that is given today. It was a kind of a triangular structure, a very peculiar kind of a trophy. I've never seen any trophy like that. Fortunately, after a couple of series, it was discontinued and the new trophy was instituted.
So coming to the 2001 series, India beat Australia 2-1. And if we remember, Sachin Tendulkar scored a century in the third test and even Harbhajan took 15 wickets. So can you recall anything from that series and you would like to share your experience with us?
Yes, that was a great series. Australia came to India with a record 15 consecutive victories under their belt. And Steve Waugh very famously said that India is the final frontier. We haven't won a series here since 69-70, and we want to set the record straight. The Indians had practiced very hard, very intensively, but we had a problem. Anil Kumble, our number 1 bowler, was missing. He had undergone a shoulder surgery, so he was missing. Harbhajan Singh, who was brought in, he was an unknown quantity. He had been through a very tough time in the preceding months, but Saurav Ganguly, the Indian skipper, had fought with the selectors and got Harbhajan into the team because Saurav believed that Harbhajan had that X factor. Uh, Despite all the intensive preparations, we lost the first test at Mumbai in less than 3 days. And in Kolkata, Australia were dominating and they enforced the follow-on. But then, of course, VVS Lakshman and Rahul Dravid, they helped us stage a great fight back. And on the last day, what I remember is at tea time, the Australians were set an impossible target. So they were, I think, 3 wickets down at tea. So all of us thought that fine, the match is going to end in a draw, which is better. I mean, it's almost as good as a victory because here is a team that has won 16 test matches in a row, and we are at least stopping their winning streak. But then after tea, all hell broke loose. Sachin Tendulkar got 3 crucial wickets, And Harbhajan, of course, was there pegging away all the time. And we won that match. And then we went on to Chennai, which was another great test match. And Australia dominated at the start, but we pulled them back. Sachin scored a great century, as you said. And on the last day, we needed 155 to win. We were cruising at one stage, 76 for one, all the time in the world. Lakshman in peak form. And then suddenly there was a mix-up between Ramesh, Sadagopan Ramesh and VVS Lakshman. Ramesh was run out. And then there was a collapse. And suddenly you had a situation where we were 135 for 6, rapidly running out of wickets. And the Australians, very dangerous. You give them a millimeter and they will take a mile. But Samir Dighe and Harbhajan Singh held their nerve, held their cool, and they took us past the finishing line. A great test, probably one of the greatest series of all time.
We've seen it's always a thrilling battle between India and Australia, and 2016-2017 was one such home series again. But how do you see the forthcoming home series, that is 2022 and 23?
It should be a good series. What I do feel very bad about is that we are going to miss a player who did so well in the previous India-Australia series that was played in Australia during COVID times, 2021, Rishabh Pant. That innings he played at Brisbane is remembered because it was a match-winning innings. But the 97 that he scored at Sydney in the third test was no less. Had he stayed in for one more hour, I feel we would have won that test match as well. We are going to miss Rishabh Pant big time. But we have a good team, and I think we are playing at home. Everything is in our favor. The spinners are in peak form. I expect Ashwin to do very well in this series. Rohit, the captain, has something to play for because there have been a lot of questions asked. And there's been a lot of talk about his captaincy. So he has something to play for. Then we have Virat, who also has a point to prove, because although he has played some great innings in limited overs cricket in the recent past, he hasn't really got going in the traditional variety. So I think the key players, the key senior members of the Indian team, that is Ashwin, Rohit and Virat, they all have something to play for. Shubman Gill is in the form of his life in the limited overs formats, and the way he's going, I'm sure he's going to translate that in the longer variety as well. So I think the seniors have something to play for. They will definitely inspire, encourage the youngsters to do well. I feel India start with an advantage.
That said, it's been 19 years since Australia last won a series in India. So do you think they stand a chance this year?
Very difficult, but if a couple of their players, say like Steve Smith or even the skipper Pat Cummins, they get going, they would do well. But I frankly feel that in a 4-test series, it would be difficult for them to win. They may win the odd test match, but I think we will do a lot better than them in the series to follow.
Also, over the years, we've seen great partnerships. For example, David versus VVS, just like you mentioned before, Shardul versus Sundar in the last edition. Do you think that this time we'll witness such great partnerships, considering the middle order of India is not that stable?
Yeah, I would think we would witness some great stands. For the simple reason is that the senior members of the team who are also part of that batting lineup, they have something to prove. And we all know that in the heat and humidity of India, if you stay there for 2 hours, 3 hours, then the bowling tends to wilt. So I think the Indian batsmen should look to spend a lot of time in the middle. That will put a lot of pressure on the Aussies, and we will be in the driver's seat.
So this is my last question to you. As you said, Rishabh Pant was the star of the series. We obviously cannot replace him, but who do you think, will get that middle order slot of his? Who do you think would be the great?
I think we have a problem of plenty at the moment, and that's a great problem to have. I am looking forward to seeing Sky, Surya Kumar Yadav, play test matches, because there's a lot of talk about him being a great T20 player, great limited overs player. But the honest reality is that he is a great limited overs player because his basics are solid. His first class game, his traditional game is solid. It is only when you have a strong foundation that you are able to do all the crazy things that he does in the limited overs formats. So I believe that Surya Kumar Yadav, it's a great setting for him to make his test debut. He should be given that opportunity, and I think he'll do very well.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you. My pleasure.